So with the trailer dropping for Ahsoka and the fast approaching debut of its first season, I'm sure there's a lot of questions that fans and newer viewers alike are starting to have. For many longtime Star Wars fans and us older fans who haven't kept up with all the media over the years, Ahsoka is a character who is both simultaneously beloved by many and relatively unknown to some. Obviously, this is because Ahsoka's origins happened in the animated series of the Clone Wars and Rebels, and before that, the very first animated Clone Wars movie from 2008. While her character has undergone a significant, impactful, and masterfully emotional, provoking journey, some fans were caught off guard by who this mysterious surviving Jedi was when she popped up in The Mandalorian Season 2. In this video, I'm not going to go into who Ahsoka is from the beginning, but rather who the Ahsoka is that we'll be seeing soon, and the implications of her character going forward. While the trailer introduced a handful of familiar characters, there were also a couple of new ones that tip the scales and alter our predictions of both the show and franchise going forward, especially with the announcement of several new projects in the future, including a continuation of the sequel storylines, and yes, the rise of Skywalker and Rey going forward. While I love the actors and even the untouched potential of the characters in that trilogy, watching the rise of Skywalker is like telling an acquaintance that you ate super mayo-y coleslaw once and enjoyed it, and then that acquaintance breaks into your home in the middle of the night, ties you to a chair, and mashes coleslaw into your face and eyes for 2 hours. But I digress. I'll get to the world between worlds in just a second, but I think the biggest question going into the Ahsoka series is where, or perhaps more specifically when, we will pick up. Aside from her appearance in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, the last time we saw Ahsoka was in the epilogue scene in Rebels, where she appeared to Sabine, all dapper and white, with a staff very reminiscent of the reborn Gandalf the White. We know that this scene takes place after Luke had defeated both his father and the Emperor, but it was indicative that her missions were not complete. Was this scene before or after Mando? And if so, where is this stoic Ahsoka donning the white robe? This is the catalyst, in my opinion, of how the show will progress, because it's very confusing of where we are in the timeline and if we're even in the same timeline. In an interview with Vanity Fair in 2020, when discussing the upcoming live-action Ahsoka show, Dave Filoni drew further comparisons between Ahsoka and Gandalf, saying, and I quote, "She is, for lack of a better term, a master, because she's largely an independent at this point. I play her much more as a knowledgeable knight. A wandering samurai character is what she really is at this point. I've always made comparisons to her heading toward the Gandalf stage, where she is the one that has the knowledge of the world and can help others through it. I think she's reached that point." So, what is the world between worlds exactly, and what does it have to do with Ahsoka or Ezra, and by extension Rey and or Luke Skywalker in the future of Star Wars? Let's think of the place as a mystical, extra-dimensional plane within the Force, but outside the normal realm of time and space in the galaxy far, far away. It was first seen in the final season of Star Wars Rebels, and consequently played a key element in the survival of Ahsoka. The world between worlds, otherwise referred to as the Vergent Scatter in some contexts, was described within the Chain Worlds theorem, visualized in the sacred Jedi texts kept within the Jedi Temple on the planet of Ahch-To. The world between worlds was accessible from a painting of the Mortis gods, the Father, the Daughter, and the Son, that decorated the exterior of the Jedi Temple on the planet of Lothal. In that particular episode, Ezra Bridger manages to enter the world between worlds plane through a portal in the Jedi Temple. He opens the portal by decrypting a painting of the ancient Mortis Force wielders. He also used a key given to him by the Lothwolves, who, if you remember, were sentient, Force-sensitive creatures capable of not only communicating through the Force, but also able to access the world between worlds. Back in 2018, StarWars.com explored how the world between worlds exemplifies the best of the Jedi philosophy, saying, ironically, when Ezra looks out the door at Darth Vader earlier in the episode, it could be argued that the portal becomes a type of mirror for him. Rather than a reflection, this mirror shows how strongly the two characters are in opposition with one another. Had Anakin Skywalker been in a similar situation and had the chance to save Padme, all of his previous actions suggest that he would have done so. Unlike the Sith, Ezra proves that he will not try and treat death or manipulate life. While in the world between worlds, Ezra hears the voices of Ahsoka, his late master Kanan, Yoda, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Qui-Gon, and some others. It's a surreal, star-filled labyrinth of lit pathways, portals, and glimpses of key moments in the time that Ezra has the ability to enter and alter. One of these portals shows the moment when Ahsoka fights Darth Vader so that Ezra and Kanan can escape on Malachor. The last time Ezra saw Ahsoka, it seemed as if she was moments away from death at the hands of her former master. So, in the world between worlds, we saw Ezra reach through the portal and grab her just before Vader struck her down. In a crucial moment in Ezra's Jedi training, Ahsoka tells him that this place is ancient and part of the cosmic force, of which his late master is now a part of. In this place, Ezra also faces the temptation to save Kanan at the moment of his death when he was holding the fire back from his team. However, Ahsoka advises him to let go and honor Kanan's sacrifice so that others may live. Ezra learns that Kanan is now part of the force and continues to influence his life and the lives of others through Ezra. It is strange to me, though, because by that same logic, it doesn't make sense why Ezra would have saved Ahsoka, but I guess we'll find that out later. Though Ezra was able to reach back in time and alter events to save Ahsoka, thus altering the future, that doesn't mean the world between worlds is a gateway to safely changing the past for good or evil. In that same episode, Ahsoka and Ezra see Palpatine attempt to use the world between worlds to gain even more power over the Force. In essence, we really don't know exactly what it is or how it works entirely, but I think it's a safe bet to assume that this is linked to the realm of Mortis, as we see Ahsoka's companion, the Morai Owl, which is inextricably linked to the daughter herself. The Morai Owl can even be pinned as the entity that essentially encouraged Ezra to pull Ahsoka out of her battle with Vader. But its existence in the Star Wars canon does open up the possibility of changing certain parts of the timeline, or as some fans hope, maybe including myself, retconning entire storylines. It's possible that a World Between Worlds appearance in a live-action series like Ahsoka could make room for the expanded universe seen in the Legends literature, while also providing a way for character reboots for some characters like Rey and Luke, essentially. By extension, we also know that Thrawn is now heavily in the picture, and many fans will remember the greatness of Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire series, one of, if not the best, expanded universe stories to ever hit the shelves. This is truly where the plot thickens, and where certain adaptations and alterations can effectively occur within our scope of the Star Wars universe. With an appearance in Ahsoka, the World Between Worlds could let us see key events through her eyes, and make Anakin's former Padawan even more of a crucial character to the future of the Star Wars timeline. Who are the new Dark Jedi and/or Sith we see in the trailer? Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. Are these alternate versions of characters we already know? Are they Old Republic Force users that came through space and time that Ahsoka somehow mistakenly let through? With something as complicated and limitless as the World Between Worlds and the realm of Mortis, as we saw in that Clone Wars arc, the paths are potentially utterly splintered. Credit to Star Wars Theory on this one. He speculated that Baylan Skoll could be an older version of Anakin if he never suffered the horrific physical damage from his battle against Obi-Wan. I like to think about this, as many fans have often wondered what would have happened to Anakin if he won or actually didn't fully turn to the dark side. I'd be interested to see where this goes. The new trailer definitely leans into this, with plenty of World Between Worlds imagery, as well as a line from a fan favorite familiar droid, Huang. If you remember, he was the one who helped the younglings construct their first lightsabers in one of the Clone Wars episodes. Huang tells, presumably Ahsoka, at the end of that trailer, "It's time to begin again," which of course sounds like some unraveling of events that could even be heading for a reset of some kind, whether it's through another timeline opening up or some sort of multiversal event. This is to me the most intriguing part as both an admirer of in-depth storytelling and a diehard Star Wars fan. Is it possible that Dave Filoni had the foresight to see where Disney execs were meddling and somehow managed to integrate a mechanism like the World Between Worlds as a failsafe to his grand vision in the future of Star Wars? In my humble opinion and fan speculation, I think that the Ahsoka show will be wild and take Star Wars to a fascinating showcase that we've never seen before. I think the events in Ahsoka will show a depth to Star Wars that we've only dreamed of, and the implications and ripple effects of it going forward will be absolutely game-changing. Well, that's it for this one, my friends. I'd love to hear your own theories and speculations on this matter. Either way, I'm beyond excited to see Ahsoka in all her glory in live action, as the character much deserves it. And all the fans who haven't seen much of her are in for truly a great ride. If you get a chance, go back and watch all the relevant Ahsoka content on Disney Plus, as it will fill you in on some of the great stuff you might have missed. Don't forget to like this video, and if you feel so inclined, take the risk of giving us a sub. Thank you for watching, and see you next time, you adorable scruffy nerf herders.